But after I just like really want to see what other people thought about this movie. There's just all fresh reviews. I'm like, what? I need some of that good kush that everyone was smoking.
What's up, YouTube? Drive-By Movies here. You are watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name's Blaze.
And today we're checking out the new movie to on-demand as well as theaters, In the Earth.
(2021's) In the Earth is a brand new film from Ben Wheatley. It is about, as the world searches for a cure to a disastrous virus, a scientist and a park scout venture deep in the forest for a routine equipment run. So James, this was my first experience back in the theater. I saw this film in theaters. I know it's actually just became available on demand, but I saw it a little bit earlier last week before that had happened last Friday or the previous Friday, whenever this video comes out anyways. But yeah, this is the first time I got a chance to get back to the theater, seeing a cool little indie neon movie, as I thought. Or so I thought, it's getting into the theaters. I'd love to hear what you thought about this film first, because you might have to hold me back on this one.
No worries. So, I mean, we kind of have we actually have pretty much a lot of experience with Ben Wheatley. We've seen all his movies. Well, I know I have, at least. I'm not sure if you have. Well, all right, never mind. There's a couple movies that I think that went straight to BBC that I have not checked out, but all his like bigger mainstream ones, like Sightseers was my first experience. Loved that movie. But all his other movies, I'm not really the biggest fan of. I think all his movies are quite ambitious. Like Sightseers was great, very ambitious and stuff. A Field in England is unlike any movie I've ever seen, like ever and stuff. There were a lot of stuff that I enjoyed about it, but overall it just wasn't for me. And I honestly couldn't stand Free Fire. I thought that movie was just a little over the top dorky and just like thought it was being smart and clever and cool and stuff. It was like, it felt like a Guy Ritchie movie where it's trying so hard to be cool and stuff. Like, oh, see this is cool. Like giving you a little wink here and stuff. But it just, I couldn't get into it. I thought it was dorky. And then this one, it's kind of more of a return for form. I know that it was developed a little bit over during quarantine and stuff. A lot of it was filmed during quarantine. So like the filmmaking aside, like that's kind of cool. I definitely enjoyed these movies a lot more over Field of England as well as Free Fire. But I still wasn't really that into it. I think just Ben Wheatley's just not the filmmaker for me. I did like enjoy it and was like interested, but I'm glad I didn't end up seeing it in theaters though, because it would have felt like a waste. Yeah.
I took that $15 gut punch just right to the throat. After leaving the theaters too, I was just like, damn, that was $50. Like trying to like, I was like, that was $15 and I absolutely hated it in theaters. I don't know if this would have been better at home, but I would, like you, was kind of doing the math. I'm like, I think I've seen every single Ben Wheatley film. And I also have to say, I think I've only enjoyed about one or two. And this was not one of those. I felt like he's like one of those directors, like, why do I keep watching his stuff if I actually don't really love any of his movies? I think his best film is his first movie, Kill List. Other than that, I think Free Fire is okay. You didn't like Free Fire. I think it's okay. At the time, maybe I didn't like it. I think thinking back on it now, I think it's fine. Maybe if I went back to watch it, I wouldn't like it. I don't know. I absolutely hated High Rise. I thought that was on the level of this.
I forgot about that movie. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of that movie. It wasn't terrible, but like, yeah, I forgot about that one.
I'm sorry, that movie was terrible. And this is almost up there for me. It felt like the cool thing for filmmakers during COVID was to be like, hey, let's go make a movie because like everyone's telling us we can't do like anything. Let's go make a movie. And I think there were some filmmakers that did that and it was really cool. And those are probably, for me, is like the filmmakers behind the film The Host. I thought that was like, they did the best COVID movie there is, like kind of tops any COVID movie. It could have been not during COVID times, but it really, accentuated and utilized that and made a good movie overall. And I think that script was probably floating around maybe even before COVID. I don't know. Those filmmakers definitely knew what they were doing. This felt more like, hey, let's go make a movie because everyone's telling us we can't or something. And there was a lot of stuff that just it didn't work. It felt really like it couldn't hold any water. Plot wise, it was just kind of boring, really annoying, and that's like. I love people use the term, which I dislike, but they use pretentious. You definitely could throw that one in here. But for me, it was more annoying. The loud sounds in the theater, it was so loud, so many flashing lights. There's like a epilepsy warning at the beginning of the film. All of that, I had a pounding headache at the end of this film. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this could be the end for theaters for me, honestly. This movie just ruined it.
I mean, I totally get your thoughts on the end of theaters too, with the fact that like we didn't know it was going on demand. I fully intended to see this in theaters. I work in a mall and there's a movie theater in my mall and stuff, and I was expecting like, oh cool, like I can just see it after work one day. It left on that Friday and stuff. I was like, damn, what am I gonna do? It was only playing at Universal City Walk, but then I noticed that day, I'm like, oh, it's available to rent on Apple now. And then I just checked, let me check Vudu. That's how I normally rent my movies. It's like, oh, cool, it's on Vudu. I'll just watch it at home and stuff. And I mean, it's probably better that I didn't see it in theaters because I probably would have passed out, because I did pass out watching it and stuff. It was just so slow paced. And I mean, yeah, the loud sounds, I can see that waking me up. And some of the strobing lights, whenever I see like lights like going down in my alleyway and stuff like that, sometimes wakes me up. So wouldn't have been surprised if that woke me up in theaters, but yeah, I had to watch it the next day. So it took me 2 days to finish this movie and stuff. And like overall, like the story kept me intrigued and stuff. But just like all Ben Wheatley movies, though, like I don't want to use the word pretentious for him though, just because I feel like he does have like a cool style, but he definitely thinks his screenplays are a lot smarter than they actually are and stuff. And I'm kind of disappointed because I've loved every Neon movie that I've seen. Like they've pushed out a lot of great movies, like. Of course they Parasite, but like a lot of other ones like Ingrid Goes West and like I don't want to name them all and stuff, but just like I really liked what they've been pushing, so much so that I've almost liked them a little bit more than A24, and A24 is hailed as like the best distributor like currently and stuff. But yeah, overall though, it was just like, yeah, it was a bland watch. I honestly don't even remember it still that well and stuff. Like nothing really stood out too well other than like some decent performances, some cool set pieces and stuff, but cool story on how it was made. But like if we're going to talk about like how cool a movie was made during COVID, Host by far takes the cake.
Yeah, and I feel like that whole thing of like, oh, this is cool because this was shot during COVID. That for me is not a selling point. I don't care about that. The end product, I'm still watching during COVID. It doesn't matter. Like half the stuff, that shouldn't be a selling point for the movie. And I know that's what they were using for this, is like, this was shot during COVID. But I saw through that within the first scene of this movie. Honestly, you can see through that because there's people wearing masks, like, because they were clearly filming the movie with people around. They're wearing masks, but the main character is not even wearing a mask. So it was like, I thought that was hilarious because I'm like, everyone's wearing a mask, but like the main character just wasn't wearing a mask and everyone was cool with it, but they had to scan him for this virus. They don't say it's like COVID, but there's like a virus that's forced everyone into lockdown in the movies world, which is essentially, it could be COVID. It doesn't really matter because that's not really the main point of the movie, but I just thought it was hilarious how like the main character is just not even wearing a mask, but other people were wearing masks. But it was obviously, this was supposed to be in the height of lockdown, like the movie takes place. It just, little things like that were kind of annoying, where it's just like, this is like, why just put a mask on him? And if you guys are trying to act like this virus is so contagious, he had to go through so many crazy screens that I've never even seen anyone during COVID times go through. Why wasn't he wearing a mask? Just little stupid things like that are annoying. But really getting into like the plot and like what's annoying about it is, I think something you can trace back to all Ben Wheatley's films. His plot is always kind of like very thin, and I mean, I'm a guy who honestly dislikes plot for the most part, but even in his movies, I feel like I not necessarily need more, but it always just feels so thin that it's like, so what's even the point of trying? Like, just don't even try at that point. If the plot's just going to be so razor thin that it almost feels like a million plot holes could burst open the seams at any moment.
And like a lot of it also, like, I mean, I give kudos to the actors for like, you know, kind of forces them to like you really play around and develop like some of the scary sequences within this movie. Like, it's being classified as a horror film, I feel like, but it's definitely more just like a sci-fi somewhat thriller for the most part. Don't let the trailer, or not the trailer, but even the trailer as well as the poster mislead you into thinking like it's a horror film, and then like it getting great reviews by some critics and stuff, like, because it's definitely being like overlooked in that way. And I think the audience score is a little bit more accurate on how real audiences feel on it and stuff. What's it called? The only character that I really felt like carried the movie was Alma and stuff. She's the one who goes through like hell throughout the movie and stuff, and like her performance is great and stuff, and like she's the one, you know, who's like really like the only one that you're rooting for, even though she's not the main character. Like Martin is the main character and stuff, and you know, he kind of falls into this weird rabbit hole with his ex-girlfriend and stuff, and just like, you know, like Zach is pretty predictable and stuff. Like I kind of saw the climax like that, like his ex and Zach were like working together, kind of like it was pretty predictable and stuff. Like, I know there's not a lot to work with and stuff, like, and it might have been just a fun idea that they were like working with on the spot and stuff, but like, yeah, like I said though, just because it like worked, like, you know, like give us credit. Jeez, we used to film together all the time, watch all our old videos. We figured out a way to like film during quarantine and stuff. Like, this is how we film now and stuff. But like,
obviously not as ambitious though, so stop.
Yeah, not as ambitious.
You don't deserve a cookie like I think you do. Something I did want to bring up is I do like some of the like kind of theories that this film plays with. The whole, not like the mythology that it plays with, but I like the theory of, you know, essentially like you have religion versus science here, and I like that stuff, but I just don't think it was enough to warrant the entire film. Like, because it's, if it was really great, I would have been thinking about this after I left the theater. I left the theater, honestly, all I wanted was 2 Tylenol and to shut the fuck up.
I hope you didn't start your day watching this movie, because yeah, I'm glad I ended the day watching these, because like they made me just exhausted, and like I had some great nights of sleep after them and stuff. But you know, just like this is actually one of the movies that we have on our calendar that I was like most excited for and stuff. I was just like, oh cool, like a Neon put out a movie. Oh, Ben Wheatley, I know that director and stuff. And I kind of went in blind for the most part, like all the facts that were given and stuff that I found out after watching it and stuff. Like I thought like this is a movie he had been developing for a while, and kudos for getting out there and stuff. Like I hope some of the other filmmakers I follow might have got something done during quarantine, but you know, this one ain't it though.
Yeah, I feel like Ben Wheatley is the filmmaker equivalent of a cockroach. Like no matter how many bad movies he can make, he just will never die. He'll just always be there. Somebody will always be throwing him a bone and distributing one of his movies. And critics will always be giving him great reviews regardless of how bad the films are that he puts out. And this felt like one of those where I literally afterwards went to I very rarely go to Rotten Tomatoes or any of that stuff. I only really listen to my friends or stuff like that. I never listen to reviews. I absolutely don't look at that kind of stuff because it's not going to really impact my viewing. But I just like really want to see what other people thought about this movie. There's just all fresh reviews. I'm like, what? I need some of that good kush that everyone was smoking, because like I don't understand how you watch this film. Like it felt like it was the total opposite of what these reviewers like, because you'll go to their reviews and it'll be like, all the superhero movies, tentpole movies are like 10 out of 10. And then it's also this movie's like 10 out of 10. And I'm here where I'm like, I don't understand how those two things could both get 10s, because for me, they're both very low. They're not even similar at all to where somebody who would like them, it would cross-pollinate for somebody that liked either one of those. So none of that made sense. I'm still on bullshit. I think Rotten Tomatoes, somebody's handing out some money, conspiracy theories. Throw them in the comments below, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you like have the opportunity to check it out, like, you know, I kind of just want to hear everyone's opinion, because like I'm like, there's no way everyone feels this way about this movie. Where are all the people who are talking bad about this movie and stuff? So, you know, if you have extra cash lying around, a great way to support the show is by watching the movie through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below. You can also check it out in theaters if you want, but if you've already seen it and are just curious what other people are thinking, you know, leave a comment letting us know what you thought about the movie.
If you guys haven't already, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And it doesn't have to end here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We have all our links down in our description box below. Anyways, guys, tune in next week for a brand new episode of Fresh Releases.